Dear children, continuing with the story Bepin Babu's Lapse of Memory, today we'll do the second part. So here it goes. Bepin Babu's car was safely parked as Bertram Street by the Lighthouse Cinema. He told the driver as he got into the car, "Just drive by the Ganga. Will you, Sitaram?" Driving up the Strand Road, Bipin Babu regretted having paid so much attention to the intruder. Regretted means felt sorry. Okay. And intruder means a person who disturbs. He had never been to Ranchi, no question about it. It was inconceivable that he should forget such an incident which took place only 6 or 7 years ago. Inconceivable means unbelievable. He had an excellent memory, unless Bipin Babu's head reeled. Head reeled means shocked and confused. Was he losing his mind? Losing his mind means becoming mad. But now, could that be? He was working daily in his office. It was a big firm, and he was doing a responsible job. He wasn't aware of anything ever going seriously wrong. Only today he spoke for half an hour at an important meeting, and yet, the man knew a great deal about him. How he even seemed to know some intimate details. Intimate details means very personal and private. The bag of books, wife's death, brother's insanity. The only mistake was about his having gone to Ranchi. Not a mistake, a deliberate lie. In 58, during the pujas, he was in Kanpur at his friend Haridas Bagchi's place. All Bipin Babu had to do was write to know. There was no way of writing to Haridas. Bipin Babu suddenly remembered that Haridas had left with his wife for Japan some weeks ago, and he didn't have his address. But where was the need for proof? He himself was fully aware that he hadn't been to Ranchi, and that was that. The river breeze was bracing. Bracing means stimulating or energizing. And yet a slight discomfort lingered in Bipin Babu's mind. Lingered means stayed. Yes. Around Hastings, Bipin Babu decided to roll up his trousers and take a look at his right knee. There was the mark of an old inch-long cut. It was impossible to tell when the injury had occurred. So, after a short interaction with Parimal Ghosh, Bipin Babu was shocked. As he was moving, his mind was not calm and peaceful. He was thinking about the so-called Ranchi trip, which Parimal Ghosh was talking about, and this incident only happened 6 to 7 years back. Now he wondered how could he forget the Ranchi trip only. He had an excellent memory. He was doing a responsible job in a big firm and he wasn't aware of anything going seriously wrong. That day only he spoke for half an hour at an important meeting. Yet Parimal Babu lot more about Bepin Babu. Even some intimate details like his wife's death, brother's insanity, etc. How could it be he had forgotten? Then he thought of his friend with whom he was in Kanpur in 58. His name was Haridas Bagchi. So he decided to write a letter to his friend. But then he remembered that it was of no use as Haridas had left with his wife for Japan. So now there was no question of asking him. Again he thought that where was the need for proof? He was sure that he had never been to Ranchi and that was final. The river bridge was stimulating, but still a slight discomfort was there in his mind. He decided to roll up his trousers and take a look at his right knee. And when he did it, to his surprise, he found an old inch-long cut. Had he never had a fall as a boy and cut his knee? He tried to recall such an incident but couldn't. Bepin Babu suddenly thought of Dinesh Mukherjee. The man had said that Dinesh was in Ranchi at the same time. The best thing surely would be to ask him. He lived quite near in Beni Nandan Street. What about going right now? But then, if he had really never been to Ranchi, what would Dinesh think if Bepin Babu asked for a confirmation? He would probably conclude that Bepin Babu was going nuts. No, it would be ridiculous to ask him. Going nuts? Going mad or crazy? And ridiculous is foolish. And he knew how ruthless Dinesh's sarcasm could be. Ruthless means cruel. Sipping a cold drink in his air-conditioned living room, Bepin Babu left at ease again. Such a nuisance. Just because they have nothing else to do, they go about getting into other people's hair. Getting into other people's hair means interfering with and annoying people. After dinner, snuggling in bed with one of the new thrillers, Bepin Babu forgot all about the man in New Market. Next day in the office, Bipin Babu noticed that with every passing hour, the previous day's encounter was occupying more and more of his mind. Encounter means unexpected meeting. Okay. If the man knew so much about Bipin Babu, how could he make such a mistake about the Ranchi trip? Just before lunch, Bipin Babu decided to ring up Dinesh Mukherjee. It was better to settle the question over the phone. At least the embarrassment on his face wouldn't show. 235616 Bipin Babu dialed the number. Hello, is it Dinesh? This is Bipin here. Well, what's the news? I just wanted to find out if you recall an incident which took place in 58. Okay. Now he was confused about that mark. The cut was the mark of his childhood injury or whether he had a fall at Choudhury Falls. He was totally confused. And then an idea came to his mind to meet Dinesh Mukherjee. But Dinesh Mukherjee was a person who used to pass ruthless comments and used to make fun of others. So Bipin Babu was afraid that he might make fun of him. Sitting in his room and sipping a cold drink, Bipin Babu felt at ease again, thinking it to be a nuisance. He thought that Parimal sort of people don't have anything to do and just interfering in others' life and annoying them. After dinner, he snuggled in the bed and was busy reading a thriller. Okay. So next morning in the office, again the previous day's incident came to his mind and he finally decided to ring to make a telephone call to Dinesh Mukherjee. And the reason to call him was that rather meeting him was that he didn't want to show the embarrassment on his face. He dialed the number and said that he wanted to know the incident of 58. 58? What incident? Were you in Calcutta right through that year? That's the first thing I have got to know. Wait just a minute. 58. Let me check in my diary. For few minutes there was silence. Bipin Babu could feel that his heartbeat had gone up. He was sweating a little. Hello. Yes, I have got it. I had been out twice. Where? Once in February, nearby to Krishnanagar, to a nephew's wedding, and then, but you'd know about this one, the trip to Ranchi. You were there too. That's all. But what's all this sleuthing about? Sleuthing means investigating, especially an event. Okay. No, I just wanted to. Anyway, thanks. Bipin Babu slammed the receiver down and gripped his head with his hands. He felt that his head swimming. A chill seemed to spread over his body. There were sandwiches in the tiffin box, but he didn't eat them. He had lost his appetite. Appetite means hunger. Okay. So Dinesh asked that what did he want to know about 58, and Bepin said that he want to know whether he was in Calcutta throughout the year or had gone out. After checking the diary, Dinesh said that he had been out of Kolkata on two occasions. One was his nephew's wedding in Krishnanagar, and the second was a trip to Ranchi with Bepin Babu. He also asked Bepin what the investigation was all about. Bepin Babu slammed down the receiver and gripped his head with his hands. He also lost his appetite because he was shocked. Dinesh also confirmed his Ranchi trip. Okay, so that's all about second part. Thank you.